old horse post with rings on them by the street.
Nice.
It's an immaculate house. It's fun to sit on the other side of the street and just watch it. Some of those houses in the cities are just, you look down the driveway and they go on forever in the lot, you know. And it was interesting, some of those houses. I was watching a roofing outfit doing one of the roofs with dormers and roofs.
Oh my goodness.
That. It was hard not to watch them. I don't know. You got to get used to that.
Whew.
Now when I walk by, I look at it and they did a beautiful job. It's good to get the professionals. Okay. Whoops. I got to get some candle wax off the floor here. I didn't feel like doing it last night.
Yeah, the week before last, the oil thing didn't stay lit. I don't know if the wick is too low. Yeah, last week I couldn't get rid of that.
What, this wick?
No, on the supply one.
Oh. Want me to go get another one?
Nah, we'll figure it out.
Takes a while for the flame to go from.
Oh, that's why I couldn't get it to work. I gave up too quickly.
I read a disappointing fact in online that said that people with pancreatitis typically have a 8 year shorter life. I was like, maybe I should get a blood test.
It'd be good to rule it out. Just
It's weird because it's on the rock, the pain's on, they say it should be on the left. And you can't lay flat on your stomach, and that's the only way I get approaching rest, is to lay flat on my stomach, flat on my side. I'm still not sure I didn't destroy my stomach with ibuprofen, because when I eat my Pepto-Bismol, I can feel it go right past the wounds in the lining of the stomach.
so it could be an ulcer.
Or destroyed from all the ibuprofen I ate.
Okay.
My problem was I was confidently doing medical marijuana, and something whacked me again. So that's why I'm paying attention to the pancreatitis. It's dubious. The symptoms don't all match. I'm supposed to have the pain on this side. I got it on the right side.
Do you still have your appendix?
Yes. Huh.
That could be appendicitis.
That's not good.
No. It's another reason to get things checked, because, you know, if it bursts, you can wake up dead.
That's my third restricting the task yesterday.
Good. It's nice that we have a team.
Yes. Yeah. It was a good visit. I paid her with Venmo. I don't have to do the card reader and stuff. And I put it and said, what was the payment for? And I said, 12/3 visit. Thank you. You are a gift I give to myself. And she is. We're going to get rid of all these. hanging in there.
I guess I don't have to do water today because I'm ushering. Oh, somebody's already done it. That's good.
Yeah, Ron.
Yeah, he's pretty on the, he's always on the mark.
Come in, all who long to know how to love this world, how to keep eyes open, hands unclenched, arms wide, breathing deeply in and out. This is a time to practice because there is still so much good and beauty and joy. But it can be hard to keep telling this tale with all the news and the wind and the rain and the trembling earth. Who wants to love this life anyway? Come in, all who teeter on this edge of cynicism, brokenhearted and trying still to remember laughter and kindness and the chance to be alive in these days when so much is at stake. In this place, we remind each other why we persist, giving each other courage to take this path that is not always easy, to keep practicing this love that cannot, will not let us go, and still calls us on. Come, let us worship together. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhait, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of their identities, are she and her. We are so glad to have you in the service, whether that is here in our building, live streaming online, or perhaps watching later on YouTube. Together, we create a multi-generational, beloved worshiping community. Just a reminder that in our efforts to be as fully inclusive as possible and to care for one another, masks must be worn while you're in the building unless you are speaking from the pulpit. Throughout the month of December, we will share the offering with Buffalo United for Afghan Evacuees, a community coalition that includes Jericho Road, Journey's End, Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services, and the International Institute of Buffalo. So you can participate by writing checks or with cash. There's a station at the back of the chapel with a red box in it with envelopes where you can put cash in and designate for United. That's the key word. And you can also write a check, which you would make out to UUAmherst and put United in the memo line. And there are instructions at that station because everything I've just said went whoo, so don't worry about it. There is information for you to be able to participate. And this is all month, including our traditional Christmas Eve offering. Okay, you want to introduce?
Good morning. I'm Angela Warren, the Director of Faith Development for this congregation. And today we're doing a third iteration of our wreath-making activity for all ages, and it's all set up in the Emerson room. I have a few people signed up, but there's still space for a few more. So if after service you'd like to participate, just join us in the Emerson room, and I'll give some instructions. I don't know if we said that we're doing the month-long donations are in conjunction with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, so we're joining together for this cause.
We begin our time together by lighting the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Our chalice lighting words this morning come from Carl G. Seberg. Let there be joy in our coming together this morning. Let there be truth heard in the words we speak and the songs we sing. Let there be help and healing for our disharmony and despair. Let there be silence for the voice within us and beyond us. Let there be joy in our coming together.
It's been said that Unitarian Universalism is the religion that puts its faith in you, trusting each individual to engage in a spiritual journey and to reach our own conclusions about spiritual matters. We do that in beloved community as we support one another in faith and in friendship. And in that spirit, this congregation has created a covenant a sacred promise of how we will strive to be with one another. Please join me in speaking our covenant. Together, we promise to gather in compassionate community to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world. As we gather, we acknowledge that our church is built on occupied land that once belonged to the First Nations people of this region, the Haudenosaunee, and the people known as the Neutrals before them. May we be good stewards of the land and courageously cultivate community with all living things.
And now a song, We Are One, We Are Many, and this is performed by the UUCA Singers, which is a revolving cast of wonderful characters.
So today, it's finally my absolute pleasure to finally be able to introduce Petra Page-Mann from Fruition Seeds in Naples, New York, to you. She's coming to us virtually via recording and hopes to be here some other day in person, finally. Petra and her partner Michael started Fruition Seeds in 2012. The seed company is by intention open-pollinated organic seed, which means that the plants and seeds are grown with safe practices, free from chemicals and other human interference. Farming this way encourages the plants and seeds to be their best selves, providing beauty and nourishment far beyond the industrial practice of morphing crops into monocultures that depend on chemicals and human interference. Petra, Michael, and their growing group of seed producers work together to ensure the longevity of plant varieties that have been traditionally grown in the Finger Lakes region and other northern climates. In effect, they grow responsible plants who are or end up being indigenous to place. Place is important to plants, even as much or more as it is to people. The efforts of Petra and other farmers like she and Michael to ensure biodiversity of our food systems are relevant in so many ways. We welcome Petra virtually today as she shares a version of the creation story with us, Tikkun Olam in the Orchard, as our time for all ages.
In the beginning, there was darkness, deep and holy darkness. And then this world, the world of 1,000,000 things, including apples, emerged. And it emerged from this deep darkness as a great ray of light. And then, as things happen, there was an accident. And the vessels of the light of this world, the wholeness of the world, broke, casting light, shattering into 1,000,000 fragments. And it fell into all events, all people, all places, oak trees, salamander stones, apples too, and you. And some people believe that the entire human race is a response to this accident. That we are all born with the capacity to find that hidden light in everything, to lift it up, to make it visible, once again, to restore the innate wholeness of the world. And friends, this is a collective task. Yes, we all play our individual roles, but we all have a role to play and a responsibility. All people that have been, all people that are alive now, and all who will ever be. We are all healers of this world, and it's not about healing the world by making a huge difference, by making the biggest impact. This is about healing the world that touches you and that you are touched by. Every little bite at a time. This is the story, by the way, of Tikkun Olam. It's a lovely Jewish story, one of my favorites. And this is certainly our interpretation of it. I learned this story from Rachel Naomi Remen, which I will always be so grateful for Krista Tippett, the On Being podcast, for. Oh, so many stories and revelations, so much sweetness, and I wish the same for you.
A reading by Julianne Lepp. We have not forgotten. In nature we seek you. In the whisper of the wind, in the new green wood, your presence is near. We have not lost hope. In the dust of the desert, in the rush of the wave, in the rise of the mountain, your presence is near. We remember the cycle, in the promise of blossoms, in the dying leaves, in the bare branches, your presence is near. Let's pause for a time of quiet reflection to listen for that still small voice, however you name that. We'll have a time of quiet, and then I will offer a prayer. Spirit of community, of life and love, in which we share and find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward one another, seeking to bring into our circle of concern all who need our love and support. Those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who are lonely or grieving, those who have been wronged. Holding in your hearts the names of those needing love and support, I invite you to come forward and place a stone or shell on the labyrinth at the table up front in honor of joys, concerns, and sorrows that you carry today. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, and to care. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe
out. I'll breathe out love when I breathe in. I'll breathe in peace when I breathe out. I'll breathe out love when I breathe in. I'll breathe in peace when I breathe out. I'll breathe out love when I breathe in. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. A reading by Mark Ward. As chill winds blast the last autumn leaves from the trees, we gather with new purpose. In each other's company, we find warmth against the approach of winter's cold. We look to the bounty of harvest to sustain us while the earth sleeps, and we attend again to the wider circles of relationship, reminded of the connections on which we depend. In each face, some softening with age, some blooming into maturity, we see the human story revealed, the journey we each walk from mystery to mystery. There is cause for gratitude for the love we share, even if imperfect and not always fully realized. Every day of our journeys, we are given new opportunities to accept and to give love. And now our speaker, Petra Page-Mann, will offer a reflection.
Imagine the clamoring, the tousling in the branches, the squawks of protest. There were so many, perhaps 30 cedar waxwings stumbling over each other, tumbling through the branches, all to gobble up sweet purple blue berries. Larger than our kitchen, that service berry grew luxurious just outside our kitchen window. Blossoming in the spring, service berries are also called June berries, though the cedar waxwings don't need a calendar. They arrive as a cloud, a mesmerizing, synchronous chorus of wings, and they leave the grass below, littered with half-consumed fruit and mice daring to dart out in broad daylight. It's a beautiful sight. And though these cedar waxwings would come day after day for weeks on end, spanning late August through early mid-July, there would still be plenty of fruit for my sister and I. We would wander out and wonder if our intestines would one day turn purple. And we'd try to stop eating them, but their gentle sweetness, their floral applesauce flavor would keep us climbing in branches for another hour. That tree grew from a seed. Countless seeds were shared from those branches, and that tree, and now its memory, continues to feed me more than I will ever know. Here are some words from Robin Wall Kimmerer from her luscious essay, The Serviceberry. The serviceberries show us another model, one based upon reciprocity rather than accumulation, where wealth and security come from the quality of your relationships rather than the illusion of self-sufficiency. Without gift relationships with bees and birds, serviceberries would disappear from the planet. Even if they hoarded their abundance, perching atop the wealth ladder, they would not save themselves from the fate of extinction if their partners did not share in that abundance. Hoarding won't save us either. All flourishing is mutual. And friends, here are a few questions. When have you experienced the most generosity? When have you been the most generous? What are your favorite ways to say thank you? What are your favorite ways to be thanked? These are some of the questions we love to ask and learn in our garden. I'm Petra, by the way. I'm Petra Page-Mann, and I'm sending you love from the unceded lands of the Haudenosaunee, Onondaga. From some people call this land the Finger Lakes. I grew up on the southern edge of Canandaigua Lake in my father's garden. If you had asked me as a little girl what I loved to do, I never would have told you gardening, and I never would have told you seed saving, and I never would have told you brushing my teeth and tying my shoes. These were just things that we took for granted in my home. I will always be grateful for these gifts of continuity of life and seasons and generosity and comfort, feeling a part of the world around me. I will always be grateful for my father and his garden. And after a decade of not living here in Naples and working on other people's farms deeply in the organic seed world, I returned to Naples to found Fruition Seeds in 2011. Our decade anniversary is about to come up, December 11th. Happy birthday to all of us. May we all come to fruition one day. This is your cordial invitation. So yes, Fruition Seeds, we grow organic, regionally adapted seeds for our short seasons. And friends, it's early November. Pardon, it's early December. How the time flies. And we've been harvesting seeds now for months, millions of seeds, too many to count, and nonetheless we will attempt to share them. These long, oblong seeds of cucumbers and winter squash, these little specks of seeds of snapdragons, coarse orbs of beets, so many seeds. And in case you didn't know, I grew up Unitarian Universalist, and I will always be so grateful that questions are more sacred than answers, that service is sacrament. I always resonated so deeply with all of the 7 purposes and principles. Number 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, albeit I say every being, and seeds are definitely included in that list, as all beings are. And the 7th, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Embodied in these principles are seeds, the lessons they teach us, and with greater complexity, nuance, and fraught beauty than I ever saw as a child. So yes, when people ask if I have children, I say yes, and great-great-great-grandchildren, and we put them in baskets, and they grow us more than we grow them. And here's the thing, friends, as we approach our 10th anniversary, we're a 10th generation farm. We are not centering our human selves in this place on this land. We are centering the seeds that grow with every generation, that much more adapted, resilient, brilliant, amid the everything. So yes, we are a 10th generation farm. We have 20 acres. There are 12 of us full-time in order fulfillment, growing in the fields, community care, germination testing. And my relationship, friends, with these seeds have profoundly changed across the years. I started 10 years ago, Fruition Seeds, thinking that the love that I have for the world, how better to share that than the love I have for seeds and sharing them with that world that I love. And as I unlearn the systems, the constructs that we participate in, actively benefit from, and perpetuate these systems of whiteness and patriarchal Homo sapiens supremacy, it brings me into deeper gratitude with these 400 million year old beings, plants and their seeds. And I know deeply, more and more each day, that these seeds grow us more than we grow them. And I'd love to share with you this little tasty bite as well. At Fruition, we grow organic seeds, we cultivate new varieties, also heirloom varieties, and let's talk about heirlooms. So heirlooms are history, right? And history happened, but history is happening. We're making history right now, friends. And yes, in that same spirit, just imagine for a moment, perhaps your great-grandfather created, for example, a cedar chest. And that cedar chest hasn't always existed. There was a day that he had the idea. And then there was an idea that maybe today's the day that I started, and he started it. And then he made it. And then it existed. And then with use, with time, with memory, with love, it became this continuity of love, of family, sacrament. And so yes, these heirlooms, Brandywine tomato, hasn't always existed. It was a brand new variety, in fact, one day, that just, whether it was an intentional cross or a sport that just arrived, and suddenly someone said, this is amazing and delicious, and I want to share this with people I love, and they did. And now, all these generations later, we know them as beloved heirlooms. But every beloved poem begins as a freshly penned work. Can you imagine if we stopped writing poems, if we stopped writing music, if we stopped writing books, our culture would cease to exist. And in the same way, co-creating, imagining, becoming, co-adapting with plants, creating new varieties, these are the heirlooms of tomorrow. So yes, whether it's super early watermelons, super cold hardy carrots, new varieties of dahlia that are brilliantly abundant in short seasons, purple and green cone-headed cabbages, all in one, purple and green, tie-dyed color beets. These are all co-creations that we love playing with in our gardens and sharing these seeds with you, creating the heirlooms of tomorrow. And friends, we name these beings, and it's very troubling, in a way that our dear friend Maddie Halpert pens so beautifully in her poem, Playing Family. I would love to share this poem with you now. Oh, how many ways have I declared, okay, I'll be the mother, you are my children. I have told this to beloved plants in plain English. I've sung it in songs whispered into watering cans. I've proclaimed it, pulling out pollination kits. I have announced this motherhood with disproportionate conviction, like a kid stomp teetering through fields on oversized high heels, dangling tentatively from flexed feet with every step, as she is convinced the world believes her. Meanwhile, wind rustling, the plants shake their leaves with loving laughter, as if to say, how precious, how adorable is our little sister. And friends, we too place disproportionate, perhaps, conviction that we are the growers of our gardens. And so many of us simply go by seed. Let's talk. From 10,000 years ago to a century ago, to be a farmer, a gardener was synonymous with being a seed saver, in turn synonymous with being a plant breeder. Keen observation and thoughtful selection and appreciation for diversity across millennia have surrounded us entirely with the agricultural diversity we now rely on every day. Did you eat today? Will you eat again today? These are the gifts, in no small way, of 10,000 years of brilliant, indigenous, plant-human coadaptation. As Joseph Lofthouse loves to remind me, everything we think of as agricultural diversity is the genius vision of 10,000 years of indigenous farmers, patient and brilliant, illiterate only by modern standards. What are we illiterate to now is a question, because countless generations and entire cultures were plant breeders before DNA was even described. Indeed, modernity has thoroughly robbed human interest from our food system. And we've all heard the statistics. Over 80, now over 90% is the most recent projection. I agree. 80%, 90%, you name it, the vast majority of agricultural diversity that existed a century ago has gone extinct. The Industrial Revolution has kicked us out of our own Eden. And there's good news, there is bad. First, the good news. Even if we never sow a single seed, everything we eat becomes the statistics and funds that nourish the next generation of seed growers, of plant breeders. Every dish we prepare, every dollar we've spent either reinforces industrial or human scales. And this is only bad news if we don't activate and choose human scale models to nourish. Our dear friend, fellow farmer here in the Finger Lakes, loves to ask Klaus Martens. Imagine him saying, if you ask the wrong question, you get the wrong answer. For example, in the garden, you could ask, how do I get rid of these weeds? And you might reach for your hoe, you might reach for the Roundup. There are lots of ways to approach getting rid of your weeds. And many of them are organic. But here is another approach, another way we might frame a similar but very different question. Instead of how do I get rid of these weeds, let's ask, how did these weeds become so abundant here? Isn't that a different question? So yes, let's ask questions. When we do Q&As with Fruition Seeds, we don't do Q&As, we do in Q and Qs, because we are not here to share answers. We are here to dig into deeper questions, and good questions just beget deeper questions. We certainly feel we know less now than we did a decade ago when we founded Fruition Seeds. And of course, we know so much more, and we know we have so much more to learn. And so I would love to share with you this little notion of construct and character before we weave it back around to our gardens. As I see so many conversations about race, equity, about gender, all kinds of things in our capitalist, colonized world, it's so helpful to recognize and make distinctions between construct and character as we see and orient ourselves in our world. So construct. Construct is not who we are, it's the water we swim in. Constructs are systems. They're ideas, they're fictions with tangible, material, mortal consequences that we learn, that we normalize, that we've been socialized to protect, as well as not to see that we benefit from, i.e. whiteness, white body supremacy, especially if we are white, cisgendered, if we are heterosexual, if we are male. Patriarchy, capitalism, white body supremacy, neoliberalism are all constructs. They are not our character. Charles Baudelaire says, the loveliest trick of the devil is to persuade you that he doesn't exist. And that is the brilliant part of constructs, because we identify so deeply with those things without even realizing these things, that these constructs do everything they can to parade as our character, because our character is very different and we must defend, protect, embolden very differently. So yes, what is our character? Our character is our deepest selves, deeper than our names, our language, our culture, deeper than our lineage, deeper than our concept, any concept of what character may be. And no matter, our character is also our transcendent capacity to grow, to heal, to iterate, and give life. No matter the water we swim in, this is our inherent worth and dignity that keeps us connected, interconnected among this web of all existence. It is our innate, ineffable splendidness as living, breathing miracles of existence. So yes, when we conflate character and construct, Proud Boys happen, Monsanto happens, all kinds of things happen in their wake. So here are a few garden constructs and characters for us to sow and cultivate. There is this garden construct that we can buy seeds. We exist in a neoliberal market, and character might say seeds are living, breathing beings with their own agency, like sun, like water, like sky. They cannot be owned. They cannot be sold. Another construct character for the garden. Gardening is where I go to escape the news, the bad news, the struggles of the world. And character might suggest gardening reminds us that everything is interconnected and all flourishing is mutual, that nothing is apolitical, that every seed, every action, every breath, each of us matters. Another construct character, I didn't trellis my tomatoes right. Character might say there are as many ways to garden as there are gardeners, and we're all here learning, and Martha Stewart has one way, Elliot Coleman has another way, Petra has another way. Learn from them all, but there's no right and there's no wrong. Our final garden construct character exploration for the morning. Kale is a superfood. I should grow kale. Grow what you love, says the character, right? Let that soft animal of your body love what it loves. If you don't love to grow it and love to eat it, don't grow it, friends. It doesn't matter what superfood is at the top of that highly constructed list of what is a commodifiable, sensational headline story. Grow what you love, and gardens grow us more than we grow them. I'd love to share with you this final little notion before we depart. This year, we grow cabbage. Every year we grow cabbage. And every year we make lots of sauerkraut. We fill my grandmother's 20-gallon ceramic crock full of sauerkraut. My grandmother joined the ancestors this last spring. So Polish. She loved sauerkraut. I would always give her sauerkraut for the holidays. And she loved the color pink also. So this year, we are growing our mermaid's tail, V1, a beautiful purple and green conehead cabbage, so mesmerizing, so beautiful. We're growing that cabbage, and it has filled my grandmother's 20-gallon crock, fermenting away, and we will be sharing jars of this glorious pink, crunchy sauerkraut with everyone in my family and so many people who loved my grandmother as a remembrance of Margot and honoring her life, her love. And friends, we heal generations past and future by leaning into our cultural roots. Our earth-loving ancestors traded so much for the meager comforts of whiteness. If you too are a white body. And 10,000 years of memory is in each seed, in how each of us dance, co-adapt, and heal in the presence of these plants. 400 million years, plants have been co-adapting and evolving with countless other species on planet Earth. We humans are just babes, learning to speak. And let's learn, perhaps first, how to listen. I love these words from Robin Wall Kimmerer. And this is really why I shared gardening with my daughters, so they would always have a mother to love them long after I'm gone. Let us finish, friends, with that Serviceberry quote from Robin also this morning. The Serviceberries show us another model, one based upon reciprocity rather than accumulation, where wealth and security come from the quality of your relationships rather than the illusion of self-sufficiency. Without gift relationships with birds and with bees, serviceberries would disappear from the planet, even if they hoarded, perching atop their wealth ladder. They would not save themselves from the fate of extinction if their partners did not share in that abundance. Hoarding won't save us either. All flourishing is mutual. Thank you, friends. It will be a joy to welcome you here to the farm one day. It is so beautiful. And you'll find all of our events at fruitionseeds.com. In spring, we're open on weekends between 10 and 2. We have lots of hands-on workshops. Don't be shy. And sending love from our gardens to yours.
Yeah, that was wonderful. So this closing song is by UU singer-songwriter Jim Scott, who was here at the beginning of October, and he shared this song with us. This rendition is the UUCA singers, but it is from the musical that he wrote entitled The Tree and Me, and this is I Will Shelter You.
I
Thank you for joining us in worship today. I hope you have been inspired and uplifted by sharing this time together. We look forward to having Petra with us in person when we are able to move forward with the Living Green Expo. You can support the work and mission of this congregation by leaving a financial gift in one of the offering baskets at the back of the chapel, and you'll find envelopes for the designated Share the Plate giving in the red box, also at the back of the chapel. Please join me as we extinguish our chalice with these familiar words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. I'm going to sing through one time and then ask you to join me behind your masks, singing our goodbye song. So just me the first time. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. With me. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. We do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who walk this way with us, so be swift to love and make haste to be kind. Go in peace.